Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we're going to be looking at how we can create new nodes in Blueprint from our C++, so that essentially we can be calling C++ functionality from within Blueprint. Let's dive in and see how it's done. Now, it's all well that I can use blueprints to call to Blueprint nodes, but I actually want to activate our grabber from this piece of Blueprint here, not print out some strings. So how do I go about doing that? Well, fortunately, we can quite easily expose a function from a C++ class into Blueprint. And the way we do this is as follows. So we're going to go and create a new public function. So I'm going to go to my public section just under the tick component, and here I'm going to create a new function with a void return type called release. So we're going to do grab later on, but we're just going to call the release function for now. How do I make this available in Blueprint? Well, I need to make it a U function. So you've got U properties for variables. U function is kind of the equivalent for making a function basically visible in the land of Blueprint. But we don't stop there. Just like with the U property, we have to make it edit anywhere. Here, with the U function, we have to make it Blueprint Callable. And that, as the name suggests, means that this function now becomes a node that Blueprint has access to. So let's go over to the grabber CPP and create an implementation for this. It's going to be void return type. It's going to be a U grabber : release, no parameters, and we'll put a function body, which I'm going to stick a ulog in, and I'm going to give the message be released grabber, like so. And then we can compile, and back in our BP player, I'm going to delete the print string node, and I'm going to drag off of released here, and I'm going to search for release as a function in here. Now let's go and have a little bit of a look around. Nothing's showing up at the moment because I need to do this on the grabber. So let's take the grabber component, drag it into the event graph to create a grabber variable, then drag off of this and search for release. Now you notice nothing's coming up in this case either, and that's because we've used live coding, and sometimes things that are compiled in live coding do not show up in the editor. What we have to do is close down the editor, close down the live coding window, and then in Visual Studio Code, hit Control-Shift-B and build using the Crypt Raider editor Win64 development build. Wait for that to succeed, and then relaunch the editor from the U project file. Now, if we reopen our BP player, and now dragging off the grabber, we search for release. You can see that now there is a node called release, and indeed all that's going to do is going to call our C++. So you can see how you can really use Blueprint and C++ in close collaboration this way by exposing C++ things into the Blueprint world. Now I'm going to connect up my release execution pin to the release node. We're going to go into our dungeon and we're going to hit play. And now if I were to grab and then release, you can't see anything because it's in the output log. So let's open up the output log and dock it to the layout, then hit play again. And now when we grab and then we release, you can see there's a brief message there. It scrolls by really quickly because every tick we are doing this hit gargoyle status statue thing. But there, if you stop and look back through the log, you can see it said released grabber. So our C++ code is being executed. Okay, so now I'd like you to move our sweep code into a grab function. So you're going to create a grab function and call it from Blueprint. You're going to do it the same way as I just did the release function. But when you create the body of the grab function, instead of just printing anything, let's move that sweeping code and the if statement and all the prep variables from tick, so that it's not doing it every single time we tick, to just when we call that grab function, when we press our mouse button down or press a trigger on our controller. So then recompile and check the logs to make sure that indeed that's only happening when you press the button. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, welcome back. So let's go into our C++ and up to our header file. I'm going to close down the compile window here. And above release, I'm going to create a new U function, Blueprint Callable, which is going to be void called grab. And we're going to implement this over in the C++. So again, it's going to be a void uGrabber : grab parentheses and then braces. And I'm going to move all of this code from tick component because we are setting up our start vectors and all that sort of good stuff. Let's go all the way down and cut it out and paste it into grab instead, where it should be just fine. Now let's see if live coding will bring about the U function in the BP player. Let's go over to the BP player, delete our print string, and let's drag off that grabber node we've got and see if we can find a grab function. Okay, so this time the grab function was available to us. That's great. Now let's hook up the pressed execution pin, go over to our dungeon, hit play, and make sure we scroll down to the bottom of the output log. I'm going to right click into my viewport and have a look around, and then I'm going to press my left button and it says no actor hit, and then instantly the release grabber. So no actor hit, and then I release the key, no release grabber. Now if I go up to my gargoyle, have a look at it, I press on it and it says actor hit, gargoyle statue, and then I can release the grabber. So now we've got the right sort of architecture in place in order to grab this gargoyle. Next, we need to deal with the physics part of this setup. I'll see you in the next lecture.